The galaxy was watching. From high above in their shining ships, the aliens stared at Earth with cold eyes. They had studied humans for a long time, calling them weak, fragile, and slow. To the aliens, humans were just another primitive race. Small, stubborn creatures with little technology compared to the stars. The aliens had weapons that could burn cities in seconds, shields that could stop meteors, and engines that could cross galaxies. Against such power, what could humans ever hope to do? But then, on one broken battlefield, the aliens saw something that made them fall silent. It started as a small war on the edge of Earth's ruins. Smoke covered the ground, buildings lay shattered, and the air was heavy with the smell of fire. Human soldiers stood together in torn uniforms, their faces covered in dirt and blood. They did not look strong. They did not look advanced. Yet there was something in their eyes, something the aliens could not name. It was not fear. It was something harder, something sharper. The alien commander, standing on his floating command ship, laughed. "Look at them," he said to his officers. "Still fighting with their little machines. Still trying to hold ground when they should run. They are too stubborn to see the truth." But as he spoke, one human soldier stepped forward. He was young, his helmet cracked, his hands shaking. He carried something heavy in his arms, wrapped in cloth and dirt. The aliens zoomed their screens to see, and then their laughter died. The human unwrapped the weapon. It was not shining or new. It was not glowing with plasma or humming with energy. No, it was old. So old it seemed like it belonged to another age. Metal, heavy, with smoke marks burned into its skin, the aliens whispered among themselves. They had seen millions of weapons across the stars, but this one was different. "What is that?" one alien asked, his voice nervous. The commander frowned. He had studied human technology before. He had seen their missiles, their drones, their energy cannons. But this thing, no. This was not like the others. The human soldier raised it to his shoulder. His body shook, but his eyes burned bright. Around him, other humans began to cheer, as if they knew what was about to happen. The weapon roared. The sound was not like plasma fire. It was thunder, raw and wild, rolling across the battlefield like the sky itself had broken open. The alien screens shook from the noise. Smoke burst from the weapon's mouth, and metal tore through the air faster than their eyes could follow. The alien machines exploded. One, then two, then five of them ripped apart as the weapon screamed again and again. Fire lit the ground. The alien soldiers ducked, their shields useless against this strange primitive storm. "This is impossible," the alien commander whispered. "That weapon, it should not even work. Not against us, not against our armor, but it worked. And worse, it terrified them." The human soldier kept firing, each roar echoing across the battlefield. His fellow soldiers covered him, shouting words the aliens could not understand but could feel. A chant, a promise, a warning. The alien commander clenched his jaw. He had seen many wars. He had destroyed many worlds. But never, not once, had he felt this small. It was not the weapon alone that shook him. It was the humans. The way they held it. The way they fought as if they had nothing left to lose. The way they looked at death, not with fear, but with defiance. The aliens began to retreat, their once steady lines breaking apart. Some tried to fire back, but their shots missed, their hands trembling. They could not believe it. These humans, with their fragile bodies and their broken world, had found a way to strike fear into the stars. The commander's second officer spoke, his voice shaking. "Sir, we must fall back. If they all carry such weapons," the commander cut him off. "No, they cannot all have it. This must be rare. It must be a mistake." But deep inside, he was not sure. The battlefield grew quiet. Smoke curled into the sky, carrying the smell of fire and steel. The humans stood tall, holding their strange weapon high. Their eyes, tired but unbroken, stared at the sky where the alien ships were pulling away. And in that silence, the galaxy felt something it had not felt in a long time. Fear. The aliens could not believe it. How could humans still use such a weapon? Why did it work so well against their strongest machines? What else were the humans hiding in the shadows of their violent past? The commander turned his eyes back to Earth, his voice heavy with unease. "This is not the end," he said. "Find out where they got it. Find out how many they have. Because if humans truly fight with weapons like this, then we are not the hunters. We are the prey." The stars above seemed to tremble, and on Earth, the humans prepared for what was coming next. The battlefield lay silent, but the silence was not peace. Smoke curled from the wreckage of alien machines. their glowing frames burning as they collapsed into the ground. The air was still thick with the echo of that terrifying sound, the thunderous roar of the human weapon. High above, inside the alien command ship, the officers stared at the screens. None of them spoke. Their eyes, usually cold and sharp, were wide with something unfamiliar. Fear. Finally, one officer broke the silence. His voice trembled. "Commander, what was that? What did they use?" The commander's face was tight, his silver skin glowing under the control room's light. He had fought in countless wars, crossed hundreds of star systems, and defeated armies stronger than this. But now he could not answer. The human soldier still held the weapon in his hands below. He stood on the ruined street, smoke drifting around him, his arms shaking from the recoil. The humans cheered him on, patting his shoulders, shouting words filled with pride. To them, this weapon was not strange. It was not new. It was something they trusted. The commander narrowed his eyes. "This is not possible. That weapon is ancient, crude. It should have no place on a battlefield like this." "But sir," another officer said, his voice sharp with panic, "it destroyed our machines in seconds. Our shields, they did nothing." The commander did not respond. His mind raced. He knew what he had seen. The humans had carried with them not plasma rifles or photon cannons, but something different, something primitive yet terrifying in its simplicity. It was a ballistic weapon. The aliens had abandoned such things long ago. Projectiles, metal bullets, gunpowder. These were relics of a savage past. In the age of energy weapons, such crude tools were laughed at. Why throw metal when you could fire light? Why burn powder when you could bend the power of stars? But now, faced with human defiance, the aliens realized something shocking. The old ways still worked. And worse, they worked against technology that should have been untouchable. The human weapon was no masterpiece of alien engineering. It was dirty, loud, brutal. Yet it tore through shields because the shields were built to deflect plasma, not solid steel. The weapon did not hum with energy, it screamed with fire. It did not glow, it spat thunder, and in that thunder was fear. The humans knew this. They had carried these weapons for centuries. They had trusted them in countless wars on their own soil, across continents, through battles that had nearly destroyed their world. To humans, this weapon was more than a tool. It was a piece of their history, their spirit, their survival. The alien commander clenched his fists. They still use this, and they have mastered it. Down below, the humans regrouped. The young soldier with the weapon dropped to his knees, exhausted. His fellow soldiers lifted the weapon from his hands, treating it with care, almost reverence. They loaded it again, smoke hissing as they prepared for the next attack. The aliens watched. Each step, each movement filled them with a new kind of unease. These fragile creatures had kept alive a weapon that the galaxy thought extinct, and worse, they were not afraid to use it. One officer whispered, "If one of them can do this, what happens if all of them carry such weapons?" The commander turned sharply. His voice was cold but heavy with something unspoken. "Then we do not face a war. We face extinction." The crew fell silent. On the ground, the human captain shouted orders. His voice carried over the ruins, steady and unbroken. "Hold the line! Reload!" "They will return, and we will be ready." The aliens could not understand his words, but they felt his meaning. Every soldier listened to him with burning eyes. Every soldier gripped their weapons with steady hands. They were tired, bleeding, nearly broken, but their spirits did not bend. The alien commander leaned closer to the screen. His heart, if it could be called that, tightened. He saw something in the humans he had never seen before in any race. Not strength of body, not superiority of technology, but something else, will. It was this will that made the crude weapon terrifying. Because when the humans fired it, they were not just attacking. They were sending a message: we will not bow. We will not break. We will fight, even with the oldest weapons of our past. The commander's second officer spoke again, his voice low. "Should we retreat, sir?" The commander shook his head, though doubt filled his eyes. "No, retreat and the galaxy will laugh at us." But he paused, his gaze locked on the weapon. "We must study this. We must know how far humans will go. Because if this is only the beginning—" He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. The screen showed the humans lifting the weapon again. Smoke curled, fire burned, and their voices rose in defiance. The alien commander felt a chill run through him. For the first time in his long career, he wondered if perhaps his people had underestimated the wrong species. The battlefield was not just a place of war anymore. It had become a warning, and the warning was clear. Humans fight with weapons the galaxy had long forgotten, and those weapons still worked. The night came heavy over the battlefield, but the humans did not rest. They worked in silence, their hands blackened with smoke, their uniforms torn. They reloaded their strange weapons, checked their gear, and tightened the straps on their helmets. The sound of clicking metal filled the ruined city like the heartbeat of an army that refused to die. Above them, alien ships hovered, glowing like dark suns. Their lights cut through the smoke, scanning the streets, searching for the humans who had dared to fight back. Inside the command ship, the alien officers watched, their faces pale with unease. "Commander," one whispered. "They prepare again." The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "Then we will crush them before dawn. Deploy the machines. Show them what true power is." The order was given. From the belly of the alien fleet, war machines descended. Huge armored walkers hit the ground with heavy steps, their weapons glowing with plasma fire. Drones filled the skies, humming like swarms of deadly insects. Alien soldiers marched in formation, shields shining bright. The humans stood in the ruins, waiting. Their weapons were heavy, old, and loud. Their numbers were small, yet not one of them stepped back. The first shot came from the aliens, a blast of plasma that turned a wall into fire. The ground shook. Dust rained down. The humans ducked, but not a single one ran. Their captain raised his hand, his voice steady. Now, the human weapons roared. Thunder rolled across the city as bullets flew faster than the eye could follow. The sound was deafening, a storm of fire and steel. Alien shields flared and cracked. Their machines shuddered as metal tore into joints and wires. The aliens had prepared for plasma fire, for beams of light. They had never prepared for this. The bullets cut through their armor, ripping holes where no shield could defend. Walkers stumbled, drones dropped from the sky, and alien soldiers screamed as the storm tore through their lines. The commander's eyes widened. Impossible. Below, the young human soldier who had first revealed the weapon fired again, his arms shaking but his face hard. Each shot echoed like defiance itself. Around him, his comrades advanced, firing into the glowing night, their voices rising in shouts of courage. The battle was chaos. Alien plasma lit the streets blue, burning holes into stone and steel. Human bullets answered with thunder, striking with precision, breaking through armor. Buildings fell, flames spread, and the ground became a graveyard of machines. But the humans pressed forward. Step by step, they moved like shadows in the fire. They did not care that the aliens had more ships, more weapons, more soldiers. They carried with them something the aliens could not measure, something not made of steel or energy. Willpower. The alien commander slammed his hand against the console. "Focus fire on the soldier with the weapon. Stop him." Lasers rained down, burning the ground where the young soldier stood. Dust exploded around him, rubble crashed, but when the smoke cleared, he was still there, weapon raised. His uniform was scorched, his face streaked with blood, but his eyes blazed with fury. The aliens hesitated. For the first time, their perfect formation wavered. Fear spread through their ranks, carried faster than the sound of thunder. The commander growled, "Stand firm. They are only human." But even as he spoke, he felt the lie in his words. The humans advanced further, their captain shouting orders, their voices joining into a roar that shook the streets. Every step they took pushed the aliens back. Every burst of fire reminded the galaxy that these fragile creatures were not fragile at all. One alien officer turned to the commander, his voice low and fearful. "Sir, if this continues, we may lose the city." The commander's jaw tightened. He had never lost a battle, never. But watching the humans fight, he felt the sharp edge of doubt cut through him. These were not just soldiers with strange weapons. These were survivors, warriors who had carried their past into the present and turned it into fire. On the ground, the battle reached its peak. Flames spread, shadows danced, and the roar of weapons filled the night. The young soldier fired again and again, his weapons spitting thunder until the air itself seemed to shake. And then, silence. For a moment, everything stopped. The smoke cleared just enough to reveal the scene. Alien machines lay broken, their glowing cores fading into ash. Human soldiers stood bruised and bleeding but still alive, their weapons raised in victory. The aliens pulled back, their lines broken, their machines in ruins. The commander's eyes burned with rage, but inside, fear had taken root. They should not be able to do this, he whispered to himself. They should not, but they had. And as the humans stood tall in the ruins, their strange weapons smoking in their hands, the truth settled over the battlefield like a shadow. The galaxy had always believed humans were weak. Tonight that belief had been shattered, for in the heart of war, the humans had shown a power no alien had ever imagined, not just the power of their weapons, but the power of their spirit. And the aliens, for the first time in centuries, knew what it meant to be afraid. The ruins were quiet after the first battle, but the quiet was not peace. Smoke curled into the sky, carrying with it the bitter smell of burned metal. Human soldiers moved among the wreckage, gathering their wounded, loading their weapons, and watching the skies for the next attack. Their faces were tired, their bodies covered with cuts and bruises, yet their eyes remained sharp. Up above, in the alien command ship, silence ruled as well. The officers stood around the main screen, replaying the battle again and again. Every time the sound of the human weapon filled the room, they felt the same chill run through them. One officer broke the silence. "Commander, our shields should have blocked everything, but the projectiles cut through like nothing. How?" The commander leaned forward, his silver skin glowing faintly under the lights. His voice was low, but it carried weight. "Because it is not energy. It is matter. And matter cannot be blocked by shields designed only for light." The officers froze. Their shields were the pride of their empire. For centuries they had laughed at races who still fought with primitive guns and blades. But humans had never let go of them. The commander's second officer whispered, "But why? Why would they keep such weapons? They had energy technology. They could have advanced like the rest of the galaxy." The commander's face darkened. "Because they are not like us. They are creatures of history. They carry their past like armor. What we throw away, they keep. What we forget, they remember. And what we fear, they embrace." On the ground, in a ruined bunker lit by a single lamp, a young human soldier sat cleaning the heavy weapon. His hands were steady, his expression focused. Across from him, an older man, the captain, watched in silence. His eyes carried years of battles, scars of wars long forgotten by the galaxy. The young soldier finally spoke. "Sir, why do we still use this? We could build newer ones, stronger ones. Why do we hold on to this old thing?" The captain leaned forward. His voice was rough, heavy with memory. "Because it never fails," the soldier frowned. "Never?" "Never," the captain repeated. He pointed to the weapon, its metal blackened with use, its weight pressing against the floor. "This is not just a weapon. It is our history. Our fathers carried it. Their fathers carried it before them. Through war, through fire, through every dark moment of our world, this has stood by us. Energy can fail. Shields can break, but this will always fire." The soldier nodded slowly, understanding, but not fully. The captain's voice grew softer, almost like a whisper. "You see, boy, the galaxy doesn't understand us. They think we are weak because we bleed. They think we are fragile because our bones can break. But they don't see what is inside. They don't see what has carried us through the ages. This weapon is not just steel and powder, it is a reminder. A reminder that humans survive, always." The young soldier looked at the weapon again, this time with different eyes. He saw not just a tool of war, but a symbol, a story written in smoke and thunder. Far above, the alien commander turned to his officers. "If they carry such weapons, then it means they carry memory. And memory is dangerous. They will not give up. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever." The words filled the room with unease. The aliens were creatures of progress, always moving forward, discarding what was old. They had forgotten their past wars, their old weapons, their scars. But humans had kept theirs alive, like fire smoldering under ashes, waiting for the right time to burn again. The commander's second officer spoke nervously. "What if they have more of these? What if this is not the only kind?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "Then the galaxy will tremble. Because if this is their past, imagine what else they have hidden." On Earth, the captain stood, lifting the weapon onto his shoulder. His soldiers looked at him with respect, waiting for his words. He raised the weapon high and his voice echoed in the ruins. "They think we are weak. They think we are finished. But we carry the fire of our ancestors. This weapon is not just steel. It is blood, it is memory, it is survival. And as long as it roars, humanity will never fall." The soldiers shouted in answer. their voices rolling like thunder, louder even than the weapon itself. Their chant rose into the smoke-filled night, reaching even the alien ships above. The commander heard it from his ship. His heart grew heavy. For the first time, he wondered if his people had made a mistake. They had come to Earth to conquer, to enslave, to mock a weaker race, but now they had awakened something that might never be stopped. He turned away from the screen, his voice cold but unsteady. Send word to the council, tell them, humanity is not what we believed. Tell them we may have stirred a storm. The stars outside seemed darker, heavier, and in the ruins below the humans prepared their weapons once more, the fire of their past burning in their eyes. The truth was clear now, to humans and aliens alike. This weapon was not just a tool of war, it was the soul of humanity, and the galaxy would soon learn what that truly meant. News travels fast in the stars. Faster than ships, faster than light beams, faster even than fear itself. And after the first battle on Earth, after the roar of the human weapon, the galaxy began to whisper. It started with the traders. A group of alien merchants orbiting near Earth had seen the battle from afar. They carried the story across the trade routes, speaking in low voices in the markets of distant worlds. The humans, they said, the humans fight with thunder. The whispers spread to smugglers, to soldiers, to travelers crossing lonely systems. In every tale, the sound grew louder. The weapon became a storm in their stories, a beast of fire and smoke that no shield could stop. Some said it spat metal faster than light. Others swore it broke ships in half with a single roar. The truth was lost, but the fear remained. On a wealthy core world, inside a grand council chamber of another alien race, the leaders gathered. Their robes shimmered. Their jewels sparkled, but their eyes were heavy with unease. They are primitive, one leader argued, his voice shaking. Their world is broken. Their technology is centuries behind ours. We should not fear them. But another leader leaned forward, his voice colder. Then why did the Empire retreat? Why did their commander not crush Earth when he had the chance? Silence fell over the chamber. No one wanted to answer because they already knew. Humans had shown something the galaxy had forgotten, how dangerous the old ways could be. In the outer colonies, soldiers spoke around fires in hushed tones. I heard their weapon eats through armor like it was paper. No, I heard it shatters shields with sound alone. The humans don't even fear death, they carry their history into battle. Every telling made the fear grow. Every rumor painted humans as more dangerous than they were. And in fear, sometimes lies became truths. On Earth, the humans did not rest. They rebuilt, repaired, and carried their weapons with steady hands. For them, survival was nothing new. They had faced starvation, plagues, endless wars among themselves. What was one more enemy? They did not know the galaxy trembled at their name. Above, in the alien flagship, the commander stood alone in the dark, staring at the stars. His officers waited for his orders, but he gave none. His mind replayed the sound of the human weapon again and again. That roar, that thunder, it had carved itself into his soul. Finally, he spoke. The galaxy will hear of this, and when they do, they will not laugh at humans anymore. They will fear them. And he was right. In the days that followed, reports reached every corner of the galaxy. Fleets paused their patrols. Commanders rethought their strategies. For the first time in centuries, an empire that had crushed countless worlds found itself doubting its power. On a desert world far away, a child asked his father, "Who are the humans?" The father looked at the stars and whispered, "A race that fights with storms." In the icy halls of a distant queen, her advisors begged her to keep her armies away from Earth. If their old weapons can break the Empire's shields, they warned, what chance do we have? Fear spread like a shadow across every star system, but with fear came respect. Some races began to admire humanity from afar. They are stubborn, they said. They are fragile, but they refuse to break. Maybe they are stronger than us all. Others plotted, if they have such weapons, we must take them. We must learn their secrets before it is too late, and still, others trembled in silence, waiting, watching, hoping never to cross paths with Earth. The galaxy had seen plasma, lasers, bombs that could split planets. But none of these things shook them like the thunder of the human weapon. Because behind that thunder was something even greater, something the galaxy did not understand. Human will. For centuries, the stars had believed strength meant technology, fleets, and endless power. But humans showed them another kind of strength, the kind born from pain, from history, from the refusal to surrender. Back on Earth, the human captain stood with his soldiers, looking at the night sky. He did not know his people's name now traveled across thousands of worlds. He did not know children whispered about humans in fear. He only knew one thing. The war was not over. Reload, he told his soldiers. Clean your weapons. They will come again, and when they do, we will remind them who we are. The soldiers obeyed, their hands steady, their eyes burning. Above, in the alien flagship, the commander gave a quiet order. Pull the fleets back. Tell the council we must reconsider. These humans are not prey. They are predators. The words echoed in the silent chamber. Predators. A word that would follow humanity across the stars. And so, fear spread in the galaxy, not because of fleets, not because of shields, not because of plasma fire, but because a race thought weak had shown the universe a truth it could not ignore. Humans fight with weapons no one else dares to carry. And worse, they fight with a spirit no one can break. The sky above Earth burned with light. Alien ships filled the heavens, stretching across the horizon like a storm of steel and fire. Their engines shook the clouds, their weapons glowed bright, and their fleets blotted out the stars. It was the largest force ever sent against a single world. Inside the alien flagship, the commander stood tall before his officers. His voice was sharp, but his eyes betrayed his fear. This ends tonight. Humanity must not rise any further. We will crush them with everything we have. His words echoed through the fleet. Thousands of alien soldiers prepared for battle, their machines humming with deadly energy. They believed this would be the end of Earth, but on the ground the humans prepared too. In the ruins of their cities, men and women armed themselves with the old weapons. Heavy rifles, cannons built from steel and powder, weapons that spat fire and thunder. The young soldier, his hands scarred from earlier battles, carried the same weapon that had first roared against the aliens. He looked to his captain, waiting for orders. The captain's face was calm, though his eyes were hard. Listen well, he said. They think we are weak. They think we will break, but tonight we show them the truth. We fight not for victory. We fight for survival. And survival is what we do best. The soldiers nodded, their jaws set. Some whispered prayers. Others kissed small tokens of family left behind. All of them loaded their weapons with steady hands. The alien fleet opened fire. Beams of plasma rained down, scorching the earth, turning streets into rivers of fire. Buildings collapsed, the ground shook, and the night sky turned into a sea of explosions. The first wave of alien machines landed, their massive legs crushing everything beneath them. The humans did not run. They waited. Then, with a single order, their weapons answered. The city erupted with thunder. Rifles roared, cannons shook the earth, and bullets screamed through the night. The sound was deafening, rolling like storms through the streets. Alien shields flared, cracked, and shattered under the endless hail of metal. Their machines stumbled, sparks flying as projectiles ripped through joints and armor. The commander watched from above, his teeth clenched. Keep firing! Break their lines! But his soldiers struggled. Plasma beams lit the streets, but the humans did not stop. For every human that fell, 2 more stepped forward, carrying the weapons of their ancestors. Smoke filled the sky, but within that smoke the thunder never ceased. The young soldier fought at the front, his weapon roaring again and again. His shoulder ached, his body screamed with pain, but his spirit burned brighter than the fire around him. Each shot tore through alien armor, sending sparks and screams into the air. Beside him, the captain shouted, his voice carrying through the chaos. Do not give them ground. Make them fear every step they take. And fear they did. Alien soldiers faltered, their shields failing, their lines breaking. They had never faced such weapons, never heard such endless thunder. To them it felt as if the earth itself had risen against them. The commander's second officer turned, his face pale. Sir, they are pushing us back. The commander slammed his hand against the console. Impossible. We have the numbers, the power, the skies. They cannot. But even as he spoke, he saw it with his own eyes. His machines lay broken in the streets, his soldiers retreating under the storm of human fire. And worst of all, he saw no fear in the humans, only fury. Only will. The battle raged through the night. Fire lit the heavens. Thunder shook the earth, and the city became a battlefield of legend. Humans fought like predators, cornered but unbroken, striking with every ounce of strength. Their weapons were old, but their spirits were new fire. At dawn, the battlefield fell silent. Smoke rose in pillars, covering the ruins in a dark fog. The alien fleet, battered and broken, began to pull back. On the ground, the humans stood bloodied, weary, but victorious. Their weapons smoked, their faces streaked with dirt and sweat. Yet their eyes shone with pride. The young soldier lowered his weapon, his chest heaving. He looked at his captain, who stood tall despite his wounds. "We did it," the soldier whispered. The captain nodded. His voice was quiet but strong. "No, we survived. And that is what frightens them most." High above, the alien commander stared at the ruins with cold dread. He had thrown everything at Earth, his fleets, his weapons, his machines. Yet humanity stood. Humanity fought back with weapons older than empires, and they had won. He turned to his officers, his voice low. "If they can do this with their past, what will happen if they rise into the future?" The words chilled the room because the truth was clear now. To aliens and humans alike. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and the final showdown was not the end. It was the beginning. The smoke of battle drifted for days. Ash fell like dark snow, covering broken streets and shattered walls. Fires burned quietly in the ruins, but among the flames stood the humans, wounded, tired, yet still unbroken. Their weapons, blackened with use, rested heavy in their hands. For them, the battle was survival. But for the galaxy, it was something greater. Across distant worlds, the story spread faster than any fleet could fly. Entire star systems whispered of the night Earth defied an empire. They spoke of the thunder, of the weapons that spat fire and tore through shields. They spoke of humans who stood against impossible odds and refused to fall. In the deep markets of alien colonies, merchants told the tale in hushed voices. "The humans fight with storms," they said. "They hold weapons older than time, and still they win." Children listened with wide eyes, imagining the sound of thunder rolling across the stars. In the great halls of distant rulers, leaders debated in fear. "If they can defeat the empire with crude weapons," one leader said, "what happens when they build new ones? What happens when they leave Earth and bring that fire to the stars?" No one had an answer. Inside the alien flagship, the commander sat alone in silence. His fleet was broken, his soldiers defeated, his pride shattered. He replayed the battle over and over, the thunder of human weapons echoing in his mind. He had seen many wars, but none had carved fear so deeply into his heart. "They should have fallen," he whispered. But they did not. His officers dared not speak. They knew the truth as well as he did. Humanity had changed everything. The galaxy would never look at them the same again. Back on Earth, the young soldier sat with his captain beside the ruins. His hands were raw from battle, his weapon lying across his knees. The sun rose slowly, its light cutting through the smoke, painting the sky gold. "Sir," the young soldier asked quietly, "why did they fear us so much? We don't have their ships. We don't have their shields. We only have these old weapons." The captain looked at him, his eyes heavy but filled with pride. "Because they do not understand. They think strength comes from machines. They think power comes from fleets. But real strength, real power, comes from will. And will cannot be destroyed." The soldier nodded slowly, staring at the weapon in his lap. He finally understood what it meant. Not just metal, not just fire, but a story carried through generations. The captain continued, "This is our legacy. Not the weapon itself, but the spirit behind it. The galaxy will remember that humans do not surrender, that even with nothing, we fight, that even when the stars turn against us, we stand." And he was right. Across the galaxy, the name of humanity became legend. Soldiers from other worlds spoke of Earth in whispers, warning each other never to underestimate humans. Rulers feared the rise of a race that carried history like a sword. Scholars began to study human wars, trying to understand how such fragile beings could survive so much. But no one truly understood. Not yet. The humans did not celebrate. They did not sing songs of victory or carve statues of glory. They buried their dead, cleaned their weapons, and prepared for the next battle. Because they knew the truth, the war was not over. It might never be over. Still, something had changed. For the first time, the galaxy looked at humanity with respect and with fear. The alien commander, in his final report to the council, spoke words that would echo across the stars. "Do not mistake their silence for weakness. Do not mistake their scars for defeat. Humanity is not prey. Humanity is the storm." And so the story of Earth became more than just a memory. It became a warning. A legacy written not in books but in fire, smoke, and thunder. On a quiet night under the stars that had once seemed so far away, the young soldier sat again with his weapon. He looked up at the endless sky and whispered to himself almost like a promise. They will come again, and when they do, we will be ready. The weapon rested in his hands, heavy but steady, a symbol of something greater than steel. It was the spirit of humanity, a spirit that could never be broken. And from that day forward, across every corner of the galaxy, one truth spread like fire. Aliens could build fleets. Aliens could forge shields. Aliens could bend light into weapons, but humans carried thunder, and thunder never dies.